What's been going on?
I got a call to pray for somebody last night
Okay.
over an injury. And get there and I have no clue what I'm walking into.
Okay.
And I go in and it was on something that had been previously hurt, been reconstructed type thing.
Right.
And the knee was that big.
Whoa. Swollen.
Just huge.
Jacked, yeah.
And then when I started praying for him, he said he felt cold. It's really weird.
Cold?
Yeah. And started even like shaking a little bit and like drug withdrawals.
Okay.
Sense, do you know what I'm talking about? And as I was just in there, he kept saying that felt better, and then he kept saying it's moving. It's at the back of my knee, hurting really bad at the back of my knee. It went from hurting really intensely at the front to hurting really badly and intensely in the back.
Okay.
It went down. So then I was like, wow, okay. And I put my hands around his knee like that, over the top of it, and started praying, and then he was praying in tongues, and he says it's like you're drawing it out. He started anguishing and grabbing the bed, and I'm telling you, it was crazy intense. Wow. And so I was sitting there praying in tongues, and I got more, and he got more, and it was crazy. He was almost thrashing around. So then I just stopped, and I said, all right, man, what you been dabbling with? He says, heroin. I said, okay. And what else? And this and that, right? Amphetamines and all this and that. I said, all right. So I started addressing the spirit of addiction.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? Because I even, at that point, I went to, a lot of times when I've had things move like that, I would address the spirit of infirmity,
right,
and it go away.
Right.
You know, and it comes out. Uh-huh. It's like weaker. But then this time I addressed it, and that's when it actually got more intense at the back. You know what I'm talking about? I'm like, that's not normal.
Yeah.
And then so went to asked him what he was dabbling with, and then went to address that in the spirit of addiction, and man, we had full manifestation. And he was cracking the bread, he was breathing, he was the anger in his eyes, and I told him he looked away from me like when I started to address him. What was it? The spirit of addiction. When I started addressing that, he just shut down.
Wow. Okay.
Just like that when I was looking at it. That's the exact same way that first one did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm glad I got to go through that experience, so I knew what to do with this experience.
Wow.
So I started commanding him to leave and look at me. He wouldn't even look at me. He shut down. It wasn't him.
Wow.
I said, hey, look at me in Jesus' name.
Speak as others.
And I just started commanding him to look at me in Jesus' name. You know what I mean?
Right.
And after a couple of minutes or a minute, it seemed a long time, he finally looked at me, and he had...
He was mad.
He was mad.
He run up.
He was mad.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, then I asked him who he was, and he told me the spirit of addiction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Addiction. I said, and who else? Well, he goes, amphetamines, and started naming things off that he was addicted, had caused him to do. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so I started addressing that and casting him out. And, I shut the door as far as I told him, you can't stay, and he said, I know. You know what I'm talking about? And I said, you can't resist the light. And it was just a weird deal, dude, man, because he was mad, and then ended up casting him out, man. But tears rolling down this dude's eyes, and he was intense and grabbing and breathing and thrashing, and it went away. But then, this is the kicker. He said all the pain was gone, even from his hand that had been hurting for weeks. The knee was hurt, pain was gone. The inflammation had gone down. The entire thing is laying there in peace. I got a phone call today. Really somber.
Yeah.
And he says, you told me to keep you informed on what's going on, and a few hours after you left last night, his knee swelled to the 3 size the times that it was, and he had to have it drained in the days after having emergency surgery.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, okay, so that's been my struggle today. And as I'm driving down the road, my question, what, right, is just in my spirit, I know everything that happened. I know that it was all legit.
Right.
You can't fake what Nina experienced it.
Yeah.
That's what. Ask her about it.
She was there, huh?
Yeah. She was like a new eye opener.
Yeah.
And the pastor says this is the same thing. It's kind of cool that he called, because then I had confirmation in my spirit. It's the same thing. It's like when because I even had him proclaim Christ. You know what I mean? Just shut the door.
Yeah.
You have no more before casting a demon out. He didn't want him. He wanted Christ. He didn't want the life no more. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Shut the door. Cast him out. He had no more legal obligation to even be there.
Yeah.
Much less from my authority, just even because of ground.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, and then Pastor and I, that's what we were I told him the story. And basically what came up in my spirit is the same thing. Is he also told me, he says, great faith must be tested greatly, and enduring faith must endure. It's not on the circumstance. I was still at peace with it. But then what he brought up is, he says that when a demon's cast out, if they don't keep their
Host.
Yeah, that they give way to it again. It's like, does the house get swept clean?
Right, yeah.
Wanders
in dry places,
he comes
and
back
comes
seven times worse.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened. We're experiencing. That's what's happened with his knee.
Wow.
He went down. He went through. He got cast out, and then no matter. He came back, and it was like leaving a baby. Like Pastor John said, he says you can cast them out, and he says that's why it's so important to have follow up and covering for these people, right? To build a disciple, because then you can stand there and